sprained right ankle, but he says he's all right. Jason Terry had a sensational game Monday night. They have downsized, going small. Tim Duncan with Bruce Bowen in the fourth night in Dallas. Ron Garrettson, Bernie Fryer, Joe Forte are the officials. And in a wild scramble, a foul is called as Joe Forte looks down at Michael Finley. So the ball to Dallas.
And right away, Marv, this crowd incensed. They are already upset with a couple of calls that went against the Spurs in Dallas. And you know they're out for blood tonight with the referees.
Bowen opening up on Nowitzki with help from Finley. Nowitzki with a rainbow. Rebounded by Finley. A thrilling game the other night in Dallas. Big shots hit by stars for both clubs. An overtime victory by the Mavs. Duncan had the dribble knocked aside, and here comes Terry. Puts the speed on against Bowen, and then pulls it back. Met by Ginobili.
A lot of excess energy from both sides early on. You can see the importance, obviously, of this game for both clubs.
Howard passed on the shot, and it's a 3-second violation on Sagata jump.
Well, Mark, Greg Popovich told us before the game that this is more about emotion than it is about X's and O's. Both coaches, Johnson and Popovich, have made multiple adjustments during the series. Now it just comes down to who's going to outplay the other. I think they know what to expect from each other. They're sitting on each other's plays. Who can outplay the other tonight? That's what it comes down to.
Duncan fielding for Jop. Shot clock to 5. Duncan, yes, and it counts. So Duncan will go to the line. Tim Duncan with a strong game the other night. 47 minutes, 31 points, 13 rebounds, and hits 7 of 8 at the line.
He's averaging 31 a game in the series, shooting about 58, 59%. And Dallas has had no answer for him. Remember, he fouled out both Jop and Dampier in Game 4. So it's a huge challenge for the Mavericks to deal with Duncan down there. He's playing like the MVP of old.
Josh Howard was called on that foul, and Tim Duncan hitting his free throws. Could have won the game in the final seconds of regulation the other night.
And I think if he had to do it over again, he might have attacked the rim a little bit more, may have settled, although he had a great look with that little 12-foot jump hook.
Howard looked like Finley got a piece of it, and it's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Dallas.
Well, Howard has had a terrific series, although he was slowed down in Game 4. Just 8 points, did not shoot well, but overall, he has been a handful for San Antonio.
Ginobili. And Jump with the rebound. Evan Harris got off to a slow start in Game 4, but then came on strong. Here's Harris. Rebounded by Jump. So Jump with the putback.
And there's one of the problems going small for San Antonio. Duncan comes over to block the shot. When he's out of the play, that means you've got 4 guards for the Spurs, and nobody blocks out Jump.
Meanwhile, Dallas goes with the 2 conventional centers in Jump and Dampier. Ginobili lost the handle.
Now, this is something that Harris has been doing all series since he was inserted into the starting lineup in Game 2, attacking Tony Parker. And you can see Jop cleans up the mess.
Not a Jop, first-round pick of the Cavaliers, and the 8th overall selection back in 2001. Spent 4 years with Cleveland and worked his way into the starting lineup this season with Dallas. As Nowitzki makes his move, a blocking foul is called on Bowen.
Well, the other night, Bowen started out on Josh Howard. Popovich felt like he wanted to slow Howard down, so he had Finley on Nowitzki, but with the importance of this game, he's not going to mess around. Bowen starting out on Nowitzki right away, but he's got to be very careful of foul trouble. They have to have him on the floor.
Now Harris resets. Jump setting a pick. Harris to the pull-up. Yes.
I thought the 2 jump shots that Harris hit in the second quarter of Game 4 were huge because Parker just torched him in the first quarter, put him on his heels. Harris settled down after making a couple jumpers and then had 11 points in the second half, and the overtime was really critical in that win.
Parker, Jump with the rebound. And now Terry on the run against the backpedaling Ginobili. Rebounded by Finley. Here's Parker going at jump to the left hand. Yes, and the foul. And Tony Parker looking pretty good physically. There was a question because of a groin injury he suffered at the end of the game on Monday night.
Well, he looked fine there. Went right at Jop, and I thought Jop did a terrific job backing off and then trying to block the shot at the last second. But you see Parker using his body to kind of shield Jop, and Parker's free throw struggles continue.
We're just underway. 3.5 gone by. Game 5 of the Western Conference semifinal series. Nowitzki was trying to draw a foul, then gets the rim.
They've been working that middle isolation for Nowitzki this entire series. More very difficult to double team from the middle of the floor. So Dallas has isolated Nowitzki at the foul line area and let him go to work. A lot of effectiveness.
Dallas able to cut off Parker. Went to the teardrop, and that was deflected by Jop. San Antonio with a 1-point lead. Bowen able to recover after going for the fake, and again the friendly rim for Dirk Nowitzki.
Well, he's had a terrific series. He spent a lot of time at the free throw line, Marv, but he's only taken 4 3-pointers. Hasn't made a single one, which is shocking given his history, but it shows how much he's changed as a player. And early on, he's got his jump shot going now.
Parker getting inside and probing, met by the 7-footer. Sagana jump. Parker. And the rebound is corralled by Howard.
Great box out by Devin Harris on Tim Duncan.
Here's Howard to the crossover. Rejected by Ginobili. Parker on the move. Parker going 1-on-2, and the ball slapped away from behind. Nice play by Jason Terry.
Just a frenzied pace here from both teams. And it's just incredible. We talked about it the other night, Marv. This is just not the San Antonio Spurs that we're used to. You know, they've really won 3 titles based on half-court defense. Ginobili with the little floater can't get it to go. But Popovich has decided the only way he's going to beat this Mavericks team is to go small, match their speed and quickness, and as a result, the game is just being played at an incredible tempo.
So we're not seeing the 2 centers who played well during the regular season, in particular Nazr Mohammed along with Rostro Nesterovic. Mohammed played a minute a couple of games back. Nesterovic 30 seconds the other night. Nice play as Parker sets it up for Duncan, and the Spurs take a 1-point lead.
Parker is so good at that when he finds the lane, gets into the paint area. Once he sees the center commit to that block shot, he's gonna find Duncan on the pass. Beautiful feed there.
As Harris makes his move, an offensive foul is called.
From Parker, and watch, as soon as he sees Jop come over to help, he knows Duncan will be right there. Slam, a frenzied pace here early on, Marv, and the Spurs have a 1-point victory. Well, one of the things that both teams have talked about is how quickly things can change with one play, one game. You see Parker drawing the foul, and one. Harris picks up the foul. Well, Marv, we saw it in the Phoenix series. You know, they go back to Phoenix, they pick up Game 5, and they get the victory. And if San Antonio can win tonight, and Parker will be a big part of that, and his penetration, obviously key to this game. But if they can win tonight, imagine the pressure that Dallas faces in Game 6. Dirk Nowitzki talked about it. He says, look, we've got to take care of business tonight. We don't want to mess around. We know how close this series has been. 3 games decided by a total of 8 points. So for San Antonio, it's very simple. Get 1 win and build some momentum from then on and see what happens.
Game 6, if necessary, back in Dallas on Friday. If there's a Game 7, will take place here in San Antonio Monday night. Jerry Stackhouse, who just checked in, gets it back to Sagana Jump, and he's able to knock it down. So Jump with the perimeter shot. It's the Spurs 12, the Mavericks 10, just under 6 remaining. In this first quarter, Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, and Cheryl Miller. Second of our TNT doubleheader. Here's Parker over Jump, and Tony Parker off to the fast start. Same scenario that we saw in Dallas on Monday night. Earlier this evening here on TNT, in a shocker, the Cavaliers defeated the Pistons in Detroit. And that is number 2 on Bowen. Cleveland with a 86-84 lead, a win over the Pistons to take a 3-2 lead in that series.
Now this is a play that happened at the other end a moment ago. Parker's so good at lofting that ball over the outstretched arms of defenders and drop one of the best shot blockers in the game. Parker with just a beautiful touch. And now San Antonio going to a little zone here.
Nowitzki. Now Dirk Nowitzki has hit 3 of his first 4, with Bowen sitting down after picking up a second foul. Brent Barry has come on. Barry had been in the starting lineup last couple of games. There's Duncan off the double and puts it down. 7 points for Duncan. Spurs 16, Mavericks 12. Harris showing his speed, and he was blocked on the play. Foul on Parker, that's his first.
Amazing watching these two guys go at it. It's just speed on speed. Harris looks like a young Tony Parker, doesn't he?
And Devin Harris outplayed Tony Parker for 2 games. Parker had been set back by thigh injuries. Came up with a huge bounce back the other night. Nowitzki going at Finley. Nice scoop shot by Dirk Nowitzki. So San Antonio up by 2.
He's got it going here early tonight. The Spurs spent so much time the first couple of games worrying about him that I think all of a sudden now everybody else has gotten off, and now they're playing him more one-on-one. He's got a few more openings here.
Ginobili, he had the step and tried to get it to Duncan. So the ball back to the Mavericks. Harris, Stackhouse, Howard, Nowitzki, and Dampier on the floor now for Dallas. Nowitzki off the head fake. Howard for 3. Deflected out, last touch by Howard. The ball back to the Spurs. Avery Johnson, a one-time member of these San Antonio Spurs. In fact, he was a Spur on 3 different occasions and a key player on that 1999 championship team. The NBA's Coach of the Year this season. Barry for 3. Spurs have hit their last 5 shots, and they lead 19-14.
It's going to be critical tonight for San Antonio to find that 4th score, whether it's Finley or Barry. We know how good the big 3 have played in this series. Barry picks up the foul there on Stackhouse, but can they get that extra score, much like Michael Finley in Game 4 when he came up big with those 10 fourth-quarter points.
Now Robert Horry will come on. Tim Duncan will sit down. Good start for Duncan. Leads with 7 points. Robert Horry played only 9 minutes the other night, not able to get into it, and in fact did not even attempt a shot.
And he'll be matched up with Dampier. I think Horry much more comfortable guarding a big player. This is a better situation for him.
Stackhouse with a nice pull-up, working on Barry. So the Spurs now lead by 3 in a quick-moving first quarter, coming up on 3 minutes to play in the first. Look at the speed of Parker, and then he's stripped. Ball knocked away by Harris, able to recover.
And Marv, I think Avery Johnson a little worried about this Horry-Dampier matchup now, so he's going to go with Marquise Daniels in place of Dampier. Otherwise, Horry would have been able to roam the perimeter and find some open looks, so Avery not wasting any time fixing that matchup.
Horry gets it back down low to Finley. And Finley shows the hook shot out of the repertoire, working on Marquise Daniels.
Now he's not just a jump shooter, is he? That's a nice move there.
Michael Finley coming off an outstanding game the other night in Dallas. There's Harris, he had nowhere to go. Stackhouse open for 3. And it comes back to Daniels. So they can reset, they have a new clock. Stackhouse putting moves on Finley. Parker with the rebound. Parker around Harris and draws the foul. What a move on a crossover. 31-16.
Now Michael Finley going against his ex-mates. Remember the big shots he hit in the 4th quarter the other night. Trying to get it going here early.
It is, of course, especially when it comes down to one offensive rebound that we didn't get, one turnover, one shot we missed, one crazy shot they made, one dubious call. So that's the hard part, knowing that you did a good job, but it's the playoffs. A year ago, we won by a crazy shot. We've been in that situation, so we know how it is. Now we're gonna take care of things before, knowing that we don't need to get to that point.
I love when Manu says we won by a crazy shot.
I like when he says dubious. But
San Antonio won game 1 by 2 here in San Antonio, but game 2, Dallas won in a blowout, the Spurs' worst loss of the season. Game 3 in Dallas, that 1-point Maverick victory. Dallas going 39 for 50 at the line, and then game 4, just a spectacular game this past Monday as the Mavs won in overtime. And Tony Parker, 11 points, 2 assists over the last 6 minutes. Spurs up now by 7 with 2.5 to play in this opening quarter. Nowitzki off the fake. Nowitzki to the rim.
Nobody there. Tim Duncan on the bench. Mohamed Nesterovic sitting next to him. You got basically 4 guards and Robert Horry out there. So if you're Dallas, attack the rim. Nobody's there to defend it.
Here's Ginobili with the step. Ginobili doing it off the dribble.
Should I repeat what I just said about San Antonio, about Dallas? I mean, they don't have any shot blockers either. This is exactly what Doug Collins talked about the other night with LA Phoenix. It's like a 6-5 and under game out here.
Well, I enjoy, beautiful move by Howard, not able to score, but then back taps it. I enjoyed what Robert Horry said the other day. He used to be one of the small guys.
Yeah.
As Nowitzki is able to knock it down again, but Horry in this particular lineup, and Robert goes 6'9", maybe 6'10". He's the big man on the floor.
Yeah, he said when games used to be played small, I used to go right around guys. He said, now I'm a dinosaur. Guys are smaller and quicker than I am. He said, I'm almost extinct.
Parker met by Nowitzki and draws the foul. No, he's called for a travel. A traveling violation.
I remember 4 walking violations from Parker the other night. The crowd doesn't like it, and we'll take a look. Beautiful footwork to start the play. The jump stop, the fake. Yes, he did walk. He slid that pivot foot. Nobody liked it, but excellent call by Joe Forte.
There's Daniels to the rim. Marquise Daniels with the slam. The Mavericks are within 3.
And that brings Tim Duncan off the bench. He will check in very quickly. Greg Popovich does not like what he sees defensively from this small lineup.
Final minute, first quarter. Parker, he feels he can take it to the rim. He can attack anytime he wants.
Well, again, there's nobody there. I mean, this is a different game from what we've seen, especially in the last few years in the NBA. The game has changed now. So much attacking and penetration, and Parker is as good as anybody at that.
Howard over Parker, able to bank it home. Tony Parker now 13 points, 5 of 8 from the field.
Well, if you're a defensive purist, you may not like this style, Marv, but I love what's happened to the league in the last few years with the rules changes, the emphasis on perimeter play, the attacking style of so many teams, high scoring, very entertaining basketball.
Here's Parker with a teardrop. For final seconds of the first quarter, Terry lost it out of bounds. Now, apparently they say a traveling violation. So the ball goes back to San Antonio with 8.6 remaining in this first quarter. Tim Duncan is back. Eric Dampier comes on for Dirk Nowitzki. And Manu Ginobili will put it in play. Spurs up by 3. Out of 5 seconds. Parker to the fadeaway. Yes. 1.5 remaining. And the clock ran out and should not have, because the clock should not have started until Jason Terry touched the basketball. That's why he let it bounce towards him to get further up court.
Yeah, so they're going to put 1.5 seconds left on the clock. Dallas with a chance to set something up, but Duncan and Ginobili back, so more than likely a half-court shot from Eric Dampier.
Well, he was the open man. That is not. NBA Cares continuing a tradition of basketball and service to the community. Second quarter underway. Hot finish by San Antonio. They hit 9 of their last 11 shots, and they lead 29-24. Terry, nice move over Van Exel. So Nick Van Exel on the floor for the first time. Van Exel and Barry at the guards. Duncan, Ori, and Ginobili on the front line. And the foul is called on Dampier. A hold on Duncan.
Well, we'll see what happens with Van Exel here, Marv. He has struggled in this series, particularly defensively. And there was some talk that perhaps Greg Popovich would go with Beno Udrih, who has played very well in a backup role to Tony Parker this season. But Van Exel will get the initial look. And hopefully for San Antonio, he can get something going here.
Rick Popovich concerned. Beno Udrih has not played much in the playoffs. Ginobili fires a three, rebounded by Duncan. Udrich's last appearance is game 2 of this series. Van Exel not able to hit on a three-point attack, then last touched by the Spurs. Opening minute, second quarter. It's game 5 of this Western Conference semifinal series. Dallas up 3-1. The winner advancing to the Western Final, facing the winner between the Suns and the Clippers. And what a ball game that was last night. Here's Terry coming up short. Ginobili on the rebound. Ginobili to the crossover and score.
Boy, is he quick on that little right to left crossover, and then he elevates, got deceptive leaping ability, finds a way to get shots over bigger players.
Howard for 3, yes. Josh Howard from downtown.
Didn't shoot a lot of them this year, Marv, but made them at a 43% clip, so dramatic improvement for Josh Howard. You see the foul there, I believe it was on Daniels. But Josh Howard continues to improve year after year. He's already a very versatile defender. He handles the ball. You look at his game 4, the first poor effort that he had in this series. Game 2, he had that 27-point night. He's a guy who can really do it all.
Josh in his 3rd year out of Wake Forest. Here's Duncan. It counts. And the foul on Dampier. So Tim Duncan showing us a runner. Second on Dampier. And Duncan will go to the line looking for his 10th point.
Well, Avery Johnson's going to use up all these fouls. Dampier picks up 2. Jop has 1, and he will enter the ball game. And Duncan, just the amazing rhythm that he's had in this series. You know, he struggled throughout the regular season. Look at the numbers: 18 points, 48% shooting, and then 31 a game against this Dallas club, 59% shooting. I think just the adrenaline and the excitement of the playoffs has this guy pretty amped up.
Duncan coming up short, able to grab the rebound, and has himself a 4-point play off that sequence.
Boy, cardinal sin for Dallas. Nobody blocking out the shooter. That's the first thing you learn when you play basketball as a grade schooler.
Mavericks here in the early moments of the second have picked up 3 team fouls. Stackhouse too deep on that 3-point attempt. Nice box out by Ori. Duncan around Jop. Basket won't count, but a foul is called. A non-shooting foul, but that's team foul number 4 on the mound.
And number 2 on Jop. So here we are early in the second quarter. The 2 7-footers with a combined 4 fouls. Not much Jop can do. Duncan just too quick on that spin move. So we'll see if foul trouble becomes a factor. Eventually, as happened in game 4, Marv, perhaps Dirk Nowitzki will have to take a turn on Tim Duncan.
Kevin Harris is back, replacing Marquise Daniels. Barry, yes. So Brett Barry with a 3 and a 2. San Antonio continues the hot shooting. Here's Harris. Tremendous effort, draws the foul. Amazing he was able to get it off. And Harris will go to the line. He was fouled by Barry.
3 seconds went off that shot clock after a made hoop, and Devin Harris is already at the other end of the floor. Just scintillating speed for the young guy.
Devin Harris opened last season playing very well, then struggled. Made a significant leap in his play. Remember, he missed 24 games at the end of this season with a strained quad. Let's go over to Cheryl.
And Marv, I asked Devin Harris about his confidence level right now. He said, I'm very confident. I'm seeing the floor well. He said it was pretty banged up, as you mentioned, Marv, the second half of the season. And he says he's just happy that Avery Johnson had the confidence to eventually start him, and his numbers have proven that, guys.
All right, Cheryl. Avery talking to us earlier about Devin Harris and saying he keeps having long talks with him, saying that as Finley fires a three, saying, you know, my early days, that's a foul called a submarine move inadvertently by Ori to bring Stackhouse down. But Avery saying, you know, I was torched by Isaiah Thomas. I was torched by Gary Payton. You can go on, but you come back from it and you learn from that.
And isn't that what Harris did? I mean, he was getting abused by Parker early on, and then he hit those 2 jump shots in the second quarter, really got his game going in the second half. And I love what Avery Johnson told him after the game. He said, if you want to win a championship, you can't hide because you are exposed. Everybody's watching, so you better compete. You better get after it, and don't let your feelings get hurt because you can't win if you do.
Here's Stackhouse. Went to the fadeaway. Nice move by Stackhouse, who had a superb game on Monday night in Dallas.
He's had a brilliant series, Marv, averaging about 20 points a game, shooting close to 50%. Finley, nice move. Getting position on Stackhouse underneath.
And some miscommunication at the defensive end by the Mavericks. Spurs now lead at 39-33. San Antonio 17 of 26. They're shooting 65%. Here's Harris, got the step, and he was pushed.
You see him going against the ex-Mav, Michael Finley. A little step back off the spin. But at the other end, Finley gets him back. It's inside position. Beautiful feed from Nick Van Exel.
Back in 2003.
Well, Duncan has been terrific here early on, Marv, as you mentioned, and I think the big number is 0 fouls, and that's one of the reasons that Dallas has not been at the free throw line a whole lot tonight. Remember, they're averaging 38 free throws per game in this series. That's just number 3, and number 4 coming up for Harris. But such a key to this game, Marv, because the Spurs were 3rd in the NBA in free throws allowed, 23 a game, and yet Dallas has been attacking the rim. We've talked about the lack of a second big man in the lineup for San Antonio. They've been living at that line, so San Antonio doing a nice job so far keeping them off of it.
It has been a long rest for Dirk Nowitzki, who just made his way to the scorer's table, getting set. Check back in. It's deflected out by Harris.
And here's the number we were talking about, Mark. Look at game 3, 39 of 50. Game 4, it evened out a little bit more, but Dirk has been the guy who's really been attacking. And part of the reason I think the free throws have been down tonight so far, Marv, the Spurs are playing the screen and roll a little differently. Remember, they switched everything in game 4, and Dirk frequently ended up with a smaller guy on him. San Antonio now hedging and going under and getting back to their own tonight on the screen roll.
Make it 6 of 6 for Tim Duncan. Spurs 41, Mavericks 35. 4 minutes gone by in this second quarter. Harris fires one up, not a good shot. Rebounded though by Jump. A couple of nice moves by Sagana Jump.
Well, he's got some room to work with, Marv, because Duncan is trying to block shots from Harris. So even though Devin Harris just gets a missed field goal on that possession, he probably should get an assist because he was the one who allowed Jop to go get that ball.
Duncan getting position. Here's Harris providing help. Parker. Good box out by Howard.
Greg Popovich going with 2 small guards, Van Exel and Parker. We haven't seen this lineup in this series. They're trying to match the Mavericks with their perimeter game themselves.
Harris. That was just an impossible angle shot. Parker Parker gets inside and fell short. Nowitzki. Oh, what a move. Dirk Nowitzki going to his left and then moving to his right. He is 7 of 8 from the field.
He has 7 for 8. Duncan 6 for 6, and he's showing the whole package, the strength inside, and then the offensive rebound off the free throw, the putback, and just to let Jop know that he's going to have to play him honestly, takes him outside and hits the jumper.
Yet they lead by only 2 points.
It's been the theme of this series, Marv. I mean, they can't do anything better offensively.
Duncan is fouled. And stretching the arm out as took the hit from Jop. That's 3 on Sagana Jop. Reminder, national television coverage of the NBA Conference semifinals continues this week. Thursday on ESPN, Game 6 between the Suns and the Clippers, coming off that double overtime thriller last night. Coverage starting 9 o'clock Eastern time, and then Sunday on ABC. It'll be either Game 7 of the Cavs and the Pistons or Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final, with coverage starting 3 o'clock Eastern time. And there's Keith Van Horn making an appearance, recovering from surgery on his right hand. Been out the last 6 weeks, played in only 53 games during the regular season. He's been obviously medically cleared, but says it's still painful to catch the ball with his right hand.
And Avery Johnson told us he's had a couple of really solid practices, and he said he may get a look here tonight, and this is an interesting matchup for Duncan, who finally has to guard somebody on the perimeter.
Nice move by Howard. San Antonio's lead is down to 1. They've led by as many as 8. Finley comes off the pick. And Van Horn defending on Duncan. Ginobili trying to get it in that direction. And a foul is called. So Dallas over the limit. That's the first on Van Horn.
I think the reason you're seeing Van Horn, Marv, is because of the foul trouble early on for Jop and Eric Dampier. So Avery Johnson doesn't want to go with Dirk Nowitzki on Duncan, so he'll try to buy a few minutes with Van Horn, who's got his hands full with Tim Duncan. But in the meantime, you get to take a look at Van Horn at the other end, and he will force Duncan out on the perimeter. Van Horn, of course, a three-point shooter, a guy who can stretch the defense, and he'll give the Spurs a different look.
Keith Van Horn acquired midseason last year, played well, averaged 12 points in about 23 minutes a game, and missed the final 10 playoff games with an ankle injury. Back from injury again here this season. Now Van Horn comes to the perimeter, but Howard takes the shot from straight away. Rebounded by Duncan. Looking for Finley and then changed his mind. Parker to the crossover. Spins. Met by Van Horn, who got a piece of it. And the ball knocked away. Last touch by Van Horn.
What a great job defensively from Van Horn, staying with the play. Watch Tony Parker, who might get away with a walk here on the spin move. Well, looked like he got it going, and a good block. Can't tell there. Looked like Ginobili might have knocked that ball out of bounds.
But San Antonio in possession. Terry up on Ginobili. Duncan from Ginobili. Tim Duncan, 7 for 7 from the field. He has 18 points. Howard. And here's Howard with the step. That will count as a foul. The foul on Finley.
It's what we've seen over and over again in this series, Marv. The penetration, and I don't know, is Bernie Fryer going to count it? Yes, there was a little question about whether that bucket would count, but Howard goes right around Finley, who clearly rakes him across the legs, and Howard with the finish. But that's just been the thing that has driven Greg Popovich crazy. And every coach likes to win, Marv, but they like to do it certain ways. I mean, Mike D'Antoni wants to outscore you. Don Nelson used to want to outscore you. Jeff Van Gundy wants to shut you down. Greg Popovich wants to slow you down and beat you to death, and the ball will go out of bounds to San Antonio.
Although Dallas thought it was last touched by the Spurs and may have a point.
But Popovich wants to beat you slowly, but he's been put in a strange spot in this series, having to outscore the opponent, and the Spurs, as a result, having to play really out of character throughout this series.
As Duncan makes his move, he is fouled again by Van Horn. Second on Van Horn, and Duncan is back at the line.
Well, ever since game one, in which the score was in the 80s and the Spurs won by 2 points, everything has changed for the Spurs defense because of the insertion of Devin Harris into the Dallas lineup. Changed everything. Look at the numbers, 106 points. That's unheard of for a Spurs team that averaged 89 points allowed in the regular season. So this is not a familiar sight for Spurs fans, this type of torrid tempo that we're seeing in this series.
Tim Duncan now 4 of 7 at the line. San Antonio went 63-19 in the regular season. Best record in the history of the franchise. Best record of the Western Conference. Opening round of the playoffs, they went 6 and finally defeated Sacramento, the Kings, the number 8 seed, and obviously have their hands full with the Dallas Mavericks, trying to stay alive in this series with a win here tonight. Bowen and Nowitzki getting involved, and Bowen picks up number 3.
And now you've got both Bowen and Brent Berry with 3 fouls, so Nick Van Exel will come into the lineup.
And San Antonio over the foul limit. Nowitzki to the line. Monday night, Dirk hit 14 of 15 from the foul line, including the 2 clutch free throws with 8 seconds left in regulation. He was asked after the game, Steve, how does he deal with the pressure, the tension at the line, particularly in the final seconds? He said he sings to himself. He was asked, what song do you sing? He said with a straight face, a song entitled Looking for Freedom, which was a big hit for David Hasselhoff in Germany in the late 80s, early 90s, when Dirk was just a kid.
Well, I'm glad to hear he's got great taste in music.
Hey.
REO Speedwagon? What else does he sing to himself? Come on, Dirk.
Could have been Alvin and the Chipmunks. Come on.
Maybe a little Air Supply? I don't know. I mean, just get something good in your head.
Spurs up by 1 with 4:20 remaining in this first half. And the foul is called on Van Horn. So that's number 3 within 2 minutes for Keith Van Horn.
Well, you fall out of rhythm when you don't play. And it's been 6 weeks since Van Horn's been on the floor, as you mentioned, Marv. And that lack of flow to the game shows up in a lot of different ways. Jump shooting, ball handling, but also fouling. Remember we saw Alonzo Mourning during the Chicago series, had missed a few weeks. He came in and immediately got a few offensive fouls, setting screens. The game happens so quickly when you're out there. And I'm reminded of my old teammate in Chicago, Luke Longley, when he would come back from an injury, would say, hey, how do you feel out there? He said, I'm swimming with seals, mate. So I think Van Horn is swimming with seals out there tonight. The game's a little too fast for him right now.
Oh, that Aussie sense of humor.
Yes.
Spurs with a 2-point lead as we approach 4 minutes remaining. First half. Terry with a strong drive. Duncan able to save it. Van Exel finding room. Nowitzki with the rebound, and finally took a glancing blow to the nose.
Well, Nick Van Exel just can't get anything.
Whoa!
Series elbow from Josh Howard.
Here's Harris with a runner, and the game is tied at 47. Greg Popovich looking for a 3-second violation on the last sequence. Dallas called for a delay of game.
And I think the Spurs fans wondered why Josh Howard was not called for a double dribble. And everybody in this building a little upset. Meanwhile, Van Exel seeing some minutes here tonight because of the foul trouble to Bowen and Berry. And Greg Popovich would like nothing more than to see Van Exel knock down a 3 here, get something going.
Here's Duncan. Yes! And the foul! That's 8 for 8, 20 points, 13 of the 20 here. in the second quarter, and the foul on Harris. That's his third.
Well, they're too late. The Dallas Mavericks defense coming. Even if your game plan is to not double, once there are 3 or 4 dribbles taken and a guy's in the lane, you have to come. Harris tries, but it's too late, and you have to protect your teammate. And how about the foul trouble, Marv? Jop and Dampier and Van Horn all with 3 fouls. So Tim Duncan just looking to knock everybody out of the game.
San Antonio has a 3-point lead. Van Exel staying with Terry. Now Terry with the shot. Loves the right side of the floor.
Yeah, once he gets going right, and you saw it in Atlanta if you were actually watching the Hawks, and I know only the hardcore basketball fans were watching them, but when he goes right and pulls up, it's automatic.
Duncan. Nowitzki came over to help. Ori for 3. Nowitzki rebound. Nowitzki wide open, passed on a 3. Ginobili went flying, tried to draw the foul, did not. Ori able to handle that rebound. Duncan spinning and scores. A remarkable shooting performance in the first half for Tim Duncan. 9 of 9, 23 points. The Spurs lead at 52-49 as we come up on 2 minutes left in the half. Here's Terry right back. And a timeout is called by the Spurs. And
Marv. Scored a lot of points in that one. Meanwhile, Tim Duncan scoring a lot of points in this one.
10 of 10 from the field, 25 points. Blocking foul on Ginobili. Both teams have been over the foul limit.
A beautifully designed play by Greg Popovich during the timeout. You see the post up on Van Horn, and the Spurs know that he's got a huge size advantage down in the post, so he goes with the spin move, the lob over the top, and the easy lay-in.
Duncan with 14 of the last 15 San Antonio points. Right here, we'll send it back to our Atlanta studios. Let's go to Ernie and Kobe. Let's not get crazy.
Yeah, and it's not sponsored yet. Exactly. I know that. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Well, the Mavericks get it back. San Antonio's lead is just 1, despite the exploits of Tim Duncan, despite the fact that the Spurs have shot 61%, 22 of 36. But Dallas not too shabby at 55% from the field, and Stackhouse adds to it. The Mavericks have taken the lead.
Nothing bothers Greg Popovich more than seeing that, a guy just attacking right down the heart of the defense and dunking on the entire team.
And as Duncan tried to give it up, he is fouled. Once again, it is Van Horn. That's number 4 on Van Horn in about 4 minutes of play.
Well, Avery Johnson concerned about the foul trouble, but Popovich has to be concerned about this. Right down the middle. Again, that attacking nature of this Dallas team, not letting up. Stackhouse with the finish. And how about Keith Van Horn? 4 fouls now in 3 minutes of action, threatening to break the dubious honor set by Bubba Wells.
Yes, you brought that up. Yeah.
Dallas Mavericks years ago, a game in Chicago. I was involved in that game. Bubba Wells was sent in to the ballgame by Don Nelson specifically to play Hacka Rodman. Fouled him, I think, 6 times in 5 minutes. That's the quickest foul out in the history of the NBA. Maybe Van Horn gets there tonight and takes Bubba out of the record books.
Steve, you love the Bubba Wells anecdote. Can't hear it enough times.
Can't get enough of it.
Another opportunity for the Spurs. Parker behind the back to Duncan. Oh. He is 11 for 11. 28 points. Spurs up by 2. We come up at a half minute remaining in the first half. Nowitzki. Orion Stackhouse battled for the rebound, and it's a jump ball. It's called a tie-up by the official, Bernie Fryer.
How about that pass by Tony Parker? That was ridiculous. Driving right, he sees the newcomer, DJ Mbenga, in the game, who comes over to try to block the shot around the back. Duncan with his easiest hoop of the night. 11 for 11 for Tim Duncan. And yet, Marv, if you're a Spurs fan, you think, we're only up 2 points.
Mbenga's 7-footer on the floor for the first time because of the foul trouble. Dampier, Jop, and Van Horn. Final seconds of this first half. 2-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Parker not able to hit. Here comes Stackhouse. Nowitzki. I think that will count. They'll review it. Great job by the Mavericks to get it down court off the scramble. And at the half, it's the Spurs and the Mavericks tied at 57.
What a sequence of events, because Tony Parker had a layup at one end. Looked like it was going to be one of his patented finishes. He misses. Dallas throws it down court alertly by Jerry Stackhouse. And yes, that will absolutely count. A fantastic close to the quarter for Dallas. You've got to be thrilled, Marv. Tie game, despite the fact that Duncan has 28 points and hasn't missed a shot.
So similar to Game 4 in Dallas on Monday night, these two teams are tied.
Spurs fan, but have to love this. Duncan looking better than he has all year. The left-hand finish off the Ginobili feed. This is what I'm talking about, going right at the Spurs, or the Mavericks big men, putting everybody in foul trouble. The spin move going back to the right hand. What a half for Duncan. And this was probably the play of the game. Tony Parker with a fantastic dish.
Dallas 56%, 24-43. San Antonio 23 of 38, 61% from the field. Parker going for the steal as Dallas with the first possession of this second half. We have gone to the record books to check out shooting efficiency. That's a blocking foul on Parker. With Duncan at 11 of 11, the best shooting to start a playoff game took place back in 1975. Larry McNeil of the Kansas City Omaha Kings opened up 12 for 12 from the field.
I knew it. I knew it was Larry McNeil.
It wasn't a Bubba Wells story. You did not know Larry McNeil. Let's check in with Cheryl Miller. Cheryl?
Well, assistant coach P.J. Carlissimo for the Spurs says, you know what? It's the same old story of this series. We can't stop any of their players, and they can't stop Tim Duncan. What hurt us in the first half, we blew a lot of layups and free throws. It would be lovely in the second half if we can guard someone. As for Dale Harris, he says Tim Duncan, out of the 24 touches in the first half, 16 were deep and close to the basket. We may have to double him a little. And other stat, 41 possessions in the first half, 24 touches for Tim Duncan, perfect on the field, caused 9 fouls with 28 points, guys.
All right, and Tony Parker has recaptured the lead for San Antonio. Spurs have led by as many as 8. We're just underway here in the third quarter. Dirk Nowitzki, 8 of 11. He has 19 points. Nowitzki to the fadeaway.
Well, with Bruce Bowen having 3 fouls, Marv, Greg Popovich has started Manu Ginobili on Nowitzki, and right away Avery Johnson goes to that middle isolation play, and Nowitzki can just shoot right over the top of Ginobili.
Parker had nowhere to go, and Jop came up with it.
Nice adjustment from Jop, who doesn't go for the shot block that time.
Harris and Terry in the backcourt. Nowitzki up front, along with Jop and Nowitzki. As Jop is fouled, I should say Jop and Howard. Foul on Duncan. That is his first. So Sagana Jop to the line. In his 5th NBA season. Guy who did not start playing basketball until the age of 15. Up during the regular season, only a 54% free throw shooter.
What a pickup for Dallas. Went relatively unnoticed during the summer when they signed him as a free agent, and yet he eventually beat Eric Dampier out for that starting center spot. And now they have 2 7-footers they can put under the rim. I know it doesn't look like they're doing much to Tim Duncan tonight, but they have really anchored a much improved Maverick defense this year.
Dallas up by 3. It's their biggest lead of the night. Here's Ginobili. And he will head to the line.
Well, there's just not much you can do defensively these days on a play like that. It used to be, if you slide your feet like Jason Terry did, put your hands up, don't come down with them, then you're going to be in pretty good shape. But watch, he slides, he stays right there. That was not a foul a couple years ago, but the game is being called so much more closely, and that's why you're seeing teams attacking the rim and playing smaller, quicker lineups.
Terry with his first foul. So Ginobili hits 1 of 2. Dallas up by 2. Mavericks trying to close it out. San Antonio facing elimination, looking to bring it back to Dallas for Game 6 on Friday night. Howard with the step. Strong move by Josh Howard.
Same story, Marv. Penetration and no help defensively. This small Spurs lineup just can't deal with Dallas, and that's why we have a 4-point lead for the Mavericks, despite the fact that San Antonio is shooting 61%.
Parker, yes. Tony Parker, 8 of 16 from the floor. He has 19 points. Nowitzki played by Finley. Nowitzki. Ginobili with the rebound. Ginobili saw the opening and goes flying. He was tripped up.
Marv, watching this game, I'm looking at all these small guys trying to cover Dirk Nowitzki. And a couple of years ago, the guy who would play D on Nowitzki for San Antonio was Malik Rose. And he was eventually traded for Nazr Mohammed about a season and a half ago. But Rose was a guy who allowed San Antonio to kind of play small but play big at the same time. He had the ability to go out on the perimeter to cover Nowitzki and yet guard the rim area as well and give San Antonio that interior defense that they needed. I think they desperately miss Malik Rose in this series. I know it's way after the fact, but they don't have that one guy. They wanted Robert Horry to be that type of player, but he has not been effective in this series. And now you're looking at 4 little guys trying to defend out there, and it's just not working.
Game is tied at 64. 3 minutes gone by in the third. Harris pulls it back. Here's Harris. Like Parker got a piece of it.
Got a piece of his arm, too.
Duncan changed his mind. Finley. Michael Finley. San Antonio back up by 2. Finley's hit 3 of 4. Has 6 points, 6 unanswered for the Spurs. Nowitzki sets the pick. And Ginobili now switches off to Nowitzki. There's Terry spinning. What a move by Jason Terry.
Gorgeous move. Finley played the right hand the entire way. He's read the scouting report over and over again. And yet Terry finds a way to get back to the right with that spin move and lays it off the glass.
Duncan kicks it out. Finley for 3. Dallas can reclaim the lead. Howard played by Bowen on the switch. Finley back on Nowitzki. Shot clock down to 6. Harris. Jump, try to keep it alive. Good job by Duncan. Here's Parker with a teardrop. Tony Parker able to get into the lane. He's given San Antonio a 68-66 lead.
And the crowd imploring the Spurs to play defense, something that they didn't need to do much in the past few years, but in this series, it's become more of a beg than a cheer.
There's Terry with that rainbow. He loves that shot. It's a 3 for Terry. And the Mavericks lead by 1.
You just wonder, Marv, can San Antonio eventually outscore Dallas? They've played so well offensively the last couple of games, and yet they haven't been able to win. This is totally out of character to play this style of game. I think that's what concerns you most if you're a Spurs fan.
Duncan yet to attempt a shot in this third quarter, and he's tripped up. Tim Duncan 11 for 11 in the first half. Fouled by Terry. That's his third.
Well, we've talked so much about Terry's ability to go right and his penchant for going right. Finley knows that. So Terry with the crossover, then the spin. So he eventually finds his way back to the right, and again, drifting right, much like that big shot he hit over Tim Duncan in Game 4.
13th foul on Dallas. Brent Barry has checked back in. He inbounds. Parker and Barry now in the backcourt. Duncan, Finley, and Ginobili up front. Parker, looks like he changed his mind, and it's knocked out last touched by the Spurs.
Well, it's like a miracle when anybody makes a stop defensively. You know, you're so shocked to see the ball not go in the hoop.
Coming up on 10:30 here in San Antonio. 6:15 remaining in this third quarter. And the Mavericks lead 69-68, Game 5 of the Western Conference semifinal series. Nowitzki from downtown. Rebounded by Finley. Ginobili behind the back and scores! What a move by Manu Ginobili. And that brings this crowd to his feet. San Antonio by 1. Terry with a hesitation move and lost it. Ginobili in the open floor. Howard gets back to cut him off. Parker went flying, lost his balance. And a timeout called by the Spurs. I think Greg Popovich felt things were getting a little out of hand on that possession.
One of his patented moves around the back, avoiding Josh Howard, and then the finish. Ginobili starting to get it going here, but I just can't get over the fact that we're seeing a Spurs team just run up and down and not make any stops. And can they actually outscore a Mavericks team? We'll find out.
Well, we talked about this with Greg Popovich the other day. He said offensively we're fine as Finley never knock it down, but defensively we're just having problems. Said Dallas been able to break our defense down more than anyone ever has.
Well, Marv, the Spurs were 50-5 this season when they shot over 45%. In this series, they're 0-3. I mean, this is shocking. And they even lost against Sacramento in that same case. Josh Howard with the finish. So this is not what we're accustomed to seeing with San Antonio. And, you know, a team gets used to playing a certain way. Terry's going to pick up another foul for tripping Parker. And I believe that's number 4 on Jason Terry. But look at that, 63% field goal shooting, and yet you only have a 1-point lead.
Now Bruce Bowen checks back in, and apparently they changed that last foul. It is Howard, not Terry. Second on Howard, 3 apiece on Terry, Harris, and Jump. Parker spinning. Nice move from Terry. Down low, able to post him up. Spurs now lead 74-71. Stackhouse goes to the fadeaway. Last touch by the Mavericks. Jump deflected it out, so ball back to San Antonio. Eric Dampier checks back in, replacing Sagana Job.
When you play small, you have to gang rebound. Everybody's got to get on the glass. Duncan was 20 feet from the hoop that time, but a nice job by Brent Berry and Michael Finley sealing off the Dallas defenders.
And Duncan yet to attempt a shot here in this third quarter. There's Duncan. Yes! And the foul. Make it 12 for Duncan. So he has tied an all-time playoff record start, hitting his first 12 shots.
This is what he's been doing all night, creating the contact. He's taking the ball right at Dampier. This is what I think Duncan probably should have done at the end of regulation in Game 4. Remember, he, instead of attacking the rim, he settled for that 12-foot jump hook that didn't go. But there's nothing the Dallas defenders can do when he attacks them.
Three-point play for Duncan, who was fouled by Dampier. That's 3 on Dampier. Duncan has 31 points. San Antonio 8 of 10 from the field in this third quarter, and they lead by 6. Nowitzki tried the finger roll, blocked by Finley. Parker, and the foul is called. It's a block on Devin Harris, and Avery Johnson very upset. Bernie Fryer made the call right in front of the Dallas bench.
We've seen Harris draw a couple of charges from Parker in this series, matching that speed and anticipating plays, but he doesn't get the call here. Parker going to that right to left crossover, but Harris stepping in front, and Parker gets a free throw to go. But here's the move, right to left. Harris slides his feet, and it's another one that can go either way. So tough break for Devin Harris.
Eva Longoria in Dallas the other night for Game 4 here in San Antonio tonight, hoping it will be a happy 24th birthday celebration for Tony Parker, who has played very well once again. At 11-2. Oh, Parker with the steal. Nowitzki back. Here's Parker. He scores. What a move by Parker on the steal. 27 points for Parker, 12 of the 27 here in the third, and the Spurs have their biggest lead of the night.
We are still optimistic, knowing full well that it's going to be really hard, especially a great team like Dallas. But if you look at every game closely, I mean, only Game 2 was decided by more than 5-10 points. So they were all very close games, all decided by a rebound, a three-point shot. So we are still knowing that we can do this.
In the history of the NBA, only 8 teams have come back from a 3-1 deficit to win a best of 7. And the Suns did it in the opening round against the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, Greg Popovich told us before the game that he felt his team would bounce back. They bounced back after Game 3 when they suffered that devastating loss. Played very well in Game 4. He said they're going to do the same thing. And all they can control is what happens on the court, and that's rebounding and trying to make a few stops here and there. And let's face it, if a couple breaks go their way in Dallas, they're up 3-1 right now.
Stackhouse, Finley to the box out. Spurs have hit 9 of 11 from the field in this third quarter. They have their biggest lead of the night. They're up by 10 with 3 minutes to go in the third. Dampier knocks it away. So the Spurs will inbound the ball. Our statistician Brian Taylor passing on word that the best playoff shooting in the history of the Spurs was 8 for 8. Most recently by David Robinson in 2003. Here's Duncan with his first miss after connecting on 12 straight.
Crowd's booing him, I think.
Yes. He's sulking.
Yes.
Nowitzki, and he draws the foul. Dirk Nowitzki driving across the lane, fouled by Brent Barry. That's number 4 on Barry.
Tough call for Barry. I mean, he's outside the lane, and I guess he's leaning a little bit to the right, and that's why the call is made. You see, he's right there, and again, a call that could go either way, and Nowitzki will head to the line.
But Nowitzki not spending Much time at the foul line this evening. Only free throws 3 and 4. In contrast, Monday night, 14 of 15 at the line. In game 3, he scored 21 of his 27 points at the foul line.
And I don't know about you, but I've got David Hasselhoff in my head right now. Are you humming that song to yourself too, or is it just me?
I'm hearing kind of a string version.
I thought you were going to say you're hearing voices. I know
that too.
That happens.
Yes. Hey, whatever it takes. If it's helping Dirk, it's a good thing. Parker, tough angle shot, rebounded by Howard.
First time we've seen a little zone coming from the Mavericks, trying desperately to slow down Duncan and Parker.
Nowitzki set the pick. Parker now defending on Nowitzki. Here's Terry. That was a three-point attempt. And on the scramble, back tap to Nowitzki. Howard, nice pass for Nowitzki, and a foul. Foul on Duncan, that is his second. So Josh Howard to the free throw line. Log on to NBA.com or AOL.com/NBA and click on TNT Overtime for replays of Inside the NBA, playoff analysis, and TNT Courtside. Howard had missed his first 2 free throws before knocking that one down. Just under 2 minutes to play in the third. Spurs lead 81-74. Marv Albert with Steve Kerr and Cheryl Miller were at the AT&T Center. San Antonio for Game 5 of this Western Conference semifinal series. San Antonio trying to stay alive. Parker's pass broken up by Dampier. Here's Stackhouse. Now Terry for 3. Stackhouse with the rebound, able to save it. Mavericks can reset. Nowitzki over Duncan. Oh, what a move. Howard got inside and succeeded with the putback to bring the Mavericks within 5.
That's the problem with Duncan being out on the perimeter. Nobody rebounding with this small lineup, but Dallas now, for the 3rd possession in a row, goes zone, and it's causing San Antonio a little trouble here.
Duncan's pass not handled by Ginobili. He threw a bullet, and it bounced off Ginobili's chest. That field goal a moment ago by the Mavs, their first in 3.5 minutes. The putback by Howard. Final minute, 3rd quarter. Dallas down 81-76. Nowitzki, yes. 7-0 run for the Mavericks.
What a game, Marv. This has been such an amazing series, and if you're San Antonio, you're just wondering, can we beat these guys? I mean, we've come so close, we've played so well, and here they go again.
Parker rejected by Dampier. Nowitzki leads the break. Terry, Stackhouse, to Dampier setting the pick, and here's Stackhouse, blocked by Duncan. San Antonio can hold for a final shot of the quarter.
Boy, Parker almost fell asleep there, and Stackhouse had an opportunity for a steal.
Down to 5 seconds. Parker around Howard. Duncan, and they'll check it out. That is very close. They will review that last-second attempt by Tim Duncan. All right, here's another look.
Now, this is not going to count. You see the light go off before Duncan releases the ball, and what a finish to this quarter. Trailed by 10, and now they've cut it to 5. Absolutely no basket. A lot of leaks to plug if you're San Antonio, and they've got to make a few stops and continue this torrid shooting. The Spurs at 60%, but you get the feeling this one's going right down to the wire again.
San Antonio led by Tony Parker, 27 points. He had 12 in the 3rd quarter. Tim Duncan, 12 of 13 overall, to 31 points. in his first 12 shots. Ginobili for three. Ginobili, who hit 4 of 4 from the three-point line in Game 4, able to knock down a 3 to give San Antonio a 6-point advantage. Dampier out, trying to set a pick. Here's Terry. Yes. Jason Terry with 15.
Once again, going right, Marv. One dribble pull-up. That is automatic for Jason Terry. And little zone action here again for Dallas.
Van Exel is back on the floor, directing traffic. Duncan. And the long rebound handled by Dampier. Going over to help on Nowitzki, and the pass broken up. Van Exel is on it. Ginobili ahead of the field. San Antonio leads 86-80.
What great anticipation from the weak side defensively, with San Antonio coming over to double Nowitzki, and Ginobili plays the passing lane, makes the steal, gets the bucket.
Shot clock down to 6. Stackhouse blocked by Duncan. And it's a 24-second violation.
Let's go back a couple possessions ago with San Antonio posting up. You see Duncan right there. Now, Dallas has to come down and help. He's been on fire. So the Spurs spread out. Take a look at Manu Ginobili right here. He's going to slide over. As soon as Dallas comes down with the double, Ginobili slides. They've got to help. Howard comes down. Ginobili wide open.
Oh, Ginobili tried to get it back to Van Exel. Got away. So Dallas back in possession. This is the second of our TNT doubleheader earlier tonight. Cavaliers stunned the Pistons. 86-84, led by LeBron James, who had 32 points. And they lead the series 3-2. Nowitzki, who claims that he was fouled. He now has 26 points. The Mavericks within 4.
Legs just flying all over the place. Nowitzki, you forget sometimes he's 7 feet tall. He makes moves like a guard.
He took a shot on the knee. Ginobili open again, but way off on that 3-point attempt. Three minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Now Terry resets. And by Bowen. Shot clock down to 5. Here's Terry for 3. And that's one of the better defensive sequences of the night for San Antonio.
It's the best screen and roll defense I think we've seen all series from San Antonio. Popovich wants to take a timeout here. Wanted a foul here. You'll see the one dribble right, the pull-up, and a little bump of the knee from Bowen. That's not a foul. But Nowitzki gets to go either direction. And again, you can double team on the wings more, but very tough to double in the middle of the floor. It's one of the reasons Dallas goes to that play over and over again.
And here's Ginobili throwing up that shot. Duncan with the rebound. He was stripped. Harris with the good play. Terry back to Harris. Yes. So Harris with the strip, and then able to do it at the other end. That brings Dallas within 2.
Quick hands by Devin Harris, and Duncan looked like he had a little chippy. Going to get a putback. And Harris makes the play at one end and then finishes at the other.
Greg Popovich staying with Nick Van Exel at the point, and Duncan is fouled, bottled up by Dampier. Mavericks' first team foul. That's a non-shooting affair. That's number 4 on Eric Dampier. Michael Finley checking back in, replacing Manu Ginobili, who leaves with 15.
Well, Dallas still in pretty good shape foul-wise, Marv, after that flurry of fouls early. Jop has 3, Dampier 4, so the big guys are going to use probably all 12 here tonight.
Duncan, rebounded by Nowitzki. Good job by Bowen, handling Terry. Now Barry defending on Nowitzki. Nowitzki forces and hits. What a shot by Dirk Nowitzki.
Just nothing you can do. I mean, Brent Barry's all over him, but Nowitzki with a 6-inch height advantage. That's the play we just drew up, the ISO, and Dirk 7 feet tall and shoots from behind his head. You can't challenge that shot.
Good play by Dampier. Duncan thought he was fouled. Mavericks looking to take the lead. Harris came up short, and it's a jump ball. Tim Duncan with a tie-up from behind.
Now Dirk Nowitzki showing why he was named first team All-NBA this year. The fadeaway jumper over Barry, 12 for 19, 28 points. And Dallas, meanwhile, playing some solid defense, making a few stops in a row. Give Dampier some credit. Duncan's been on fire all night, but Dampier holds his ground here.
Well, Duncan hit his first 12 shots, 0 for 4 since then, and Dallas did a good job defensively in keeping the ball away from Duncan most of that third quarter. Now the Spurs making an effort to get Duncan involved. Duncan again off the mark.
Dallas again with that sort of hybrid zone, Marvin. Ever since Avery Johnson went to that late in the third, Dallas has thrown San Antonio out of the rhythm.
Oh, Gary Stackhouse with the fadeaway bank. It's an 8-0 run by the Mavericks. They've taken a 2-point lead.
And here comes the zone again. Avery Johnson calling for it from the sidelines. You see Jason Terry just standing there at the top of the circle. Everybody else just playing an area. And the Spurs out of their flow.
Finley with the step. And steps. He beat Nowitzki off the dribble and slammed it as he did in Game 4 down the stretch.
My goodness.
Foul on the Spurs. It is on Barry. That's number 5.
Now this is what you have to do against a zone. Attack. Put it on the floor. This is what Finley does, much like Game 4. Goes right to the rim. The right hand outstretched over the 7-footer. Wow.
Vintage Michael Finley from his days as a Maverick.
Yeah. And if San Antonio is going to attack this zone, Marv, that's the way it has to be. You can't just pass the ball around the perimeter because that 24-second shot clock goes awfully fast. You've got to attack and either draw and kick or try to get right to the rim as Finley did.
Manu Ginobili is back, coming on for Brent Barry. Here's Harris trying to reverse. Finley with Nowitzki back. And they surrounded Finley. So the Spurs reset. Tony Parker back on the floor. Dampier's done a nice job on Duncan. There's Duncan. Yes, he gets the call and the foul. Foul on Dampier. Duncan will go to the foul line looking for a 3-point play when we come back. First, a timeout. So Tim Duncan hit his first 12, then struggled, missed the next 5, but comes back right here.
It's in the paint advantage for San Antonio. Of course, Duncan, the main factor there. But San Antonio has been the aggressor here tonight, Marv, and yet Dallas has thrown counterpunch after counterpunch. And we're headed for another fantastic finish.
3-point play for Duncan, who now has 34. 5.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. And the Spurs up by 3. Now Ginobili on Nowitzki, who finds Harris. Evan Harris able to cut to the rim. And a good pass from Nowitzki. So the Mavericks down by a point.
Great cut by Harris. As soon as he recognized the double team, went right to the front of the rim, knowing that there were no shot blockers there for the Spurs.
Here's Finley for 3. Terry off the rebound, running the floor. Single coverage on Nowitzki. Now Ginobili over to help. Duncan defending on Terry. And a bad pass. So San Antonio will take possession.
Looks like Avery Johnson's going to go back to the zone. When he holds his fist up like he just did on the sidelines, that's his indication for zone. And you'll see Jason Terry just standing right out at that top of the circle area. And the three big defenders down low, just finding a space, finding a man.
And Jop defending on Duncan. Finley. He was hacked by Stackhouse. 13 foul on the Mavericks. Finley will go to the line. Let's go to Cheryl Miller. Cheryl?
Well, Marv, when Dallas waived Michael Finley, he said he could have gone anywhere, put up some big numbers, and maybe even make the All-Star team. But he said he wanted to be a part of something special, possibly put himself in the position to win a championship. And judging for the last couple of plays, he's not ready to go home fishing.
Well, he spent 8.5 years with Dallas. Signed as a free agent with the Spurs. And as we mentioned the other night, he was available by virtue of the NBA's amnesty clause, which saved the Mavericks in the area of $50 million in luxury tax.
And wouldn't it be ironic if Mark Cuban and the Mavericks advanced past Michael Finley and the Spurs? Finley feeling like his best chance at a title was to join San Antonio, and all those years with the Mavericks, they were never able to get past the Spurs. Foul on Parker there. You know that Finley sees the irony. He would have been a hero in Game 4. Hit those huge shots in the fourth quarter, the big three with about 14 seconds left, and denied at the end by the comeback from Dallas.
That's number 3 on Parker, only the second team foul on the Spurs. 4:15 left in the fourth. Traveling violation on Devin Harris. The Mavericks try to make their way to the Western Conference Finals for only the 3rd time in franchise history. They did it in 1988, lost to the Lakers in 7. Did it in 2003, lost to the Spurs in 6. Ginobili going a jump and score. Ginobili with a driving hook. San Antonio 95, Dallas 90, and Avery Johnson wants to talk it over.
It's going to go quietly, playing with a lot of force here tonight. Ginobili, the patented move up and over the 7-footer Sagana Diop. A 5-point lead for San Antonio. Can they extend this series to a 6th game?
Coverage starting 9 o'clock Eastern time, and then Sunday on ABC, either a Game 7 of the Cavs and Pistons or Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals starting at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Stackhouse tried to squeeze his way through, and he got sandwiched. So the foul is called on Ginobili. And the Spurs' big 3 combining for 78 points tonight, led by that man Tim Duncan with 34. Hit his first 12 shots, his high this season, including the regular season. 35. Remember, he had 35 in Game 3 of this series.
Well, those 3 combined for 90 points in Game 4, and of course the Spurs lost. A lot of people question whether they would be able to come up with that type of effort again. Well, they have. The question now, can the Spurs make enough stops down the stretch to hold off Dallas?
San Antonio up by 3. 3.5 to play on the 4th. Spurs hoping to take this series back to Dallas for Game 6, but Parker turned it over. Nowitzki pulls it up for 3. Yes! And the game is tied at 95.
The first three-pointer that Dirk Nowitzki has hit in this series could not have come at a better time for Dallas.
Duncan played by Diop. Ginobili passed on a 3. Finds Duncan, and he's fouled. He was hit by Nowitzki, so Duncan will go to the line.
Well, Marv, the 3 from Nowitzki was impressive, but what I liked even more was the reaction. Little Shaquille O'Neal retreat here. Watch it go in, and then I mean, this is not a guy who shows a lot of emotion. That's Shack-like.
Nowitzki shot 41% from beyond that three-point line during the regular season. The turnover by Tony Parker providing Nowitzki with the opportunity to hit that three-pointer. Duncan now 9 of 14 at the line. He has 35, so that equals a season high for Tim Duncan.
Meanwhile, the Spurs with an advantage at the free throw line tonight. Marv, 20 of 28 to Dallas's 16 for 19. That's two big ones for Tim Duncan. His free throw struggles well documented, so he gets 2 to go at crunch time, which bodes well for the Spurs in the remaining couple of minutes.
San Antonio by 2. Nowitzki finding the open man.
Greg Popovich wondering, where did that double team come from? Tony Parker leaving Harris right underneath the rim. I don't think Pop wanted that rotation.
15 for Harris, game tied at 97. So once again, we're going down to the final moments. Duncan is tied up. Duncan on the recovery. Job took it away. Crowd wanted a foul. There's Terry putting a move on Ginobili and then pulls it back. As we approach 2 minutes remaining in the fourth. They double up on a Oh, what a play by Ginobili. And then Nowitzki reaching is called for a foul. It is number 4 on Nowitzki, and it puts Dallas over the limit.
I thought this might have been a clear path foul, Marv. Watch Ginobili with the quick hands make the steal. And I guess they call him for the reach and not the grab. So Ginobili will go to the line for 2.
Manu Ginobili now 4 of 7 at the line.
Meanwhile, give Sagana Diop some credit here, Marv. Duncan's had the huge game, but he and Dan Duncan the entire night, and they're big and active and long, both of them. They can give Duncan enough trouble on individual possessions to still be a factor in the game.
1 point, San Antonio lead. Terry, Stackhouse for 3. Finley able to strike that rebound. 1:40 remaining in the fourth. San Antonio trying to stay alive. Dallas seeking to wrap it in 5. Shot clock to 6. Ginobili open, not able to hit, and Nowitzki with the rebound. Oh, look out, Bowen reaching in, and Terry hit the deck. He's trying to draw a foul as Dallas had taken a timeout. 1:16 to play in the Parker with a reverse. Rebounded by John. San Antonio has a foul to give.
Screen and roll with Terry and Nowitzki. How do they play it?
10 on the shot clock. And a foul is called on Ginobili. That's a non-shooting foul. So the next foul puts San Antonio over the limit. But first a timeout. Previous sequence.
Now Dallas coming up with a nice stop here. Ginobili trying to get it to go, then finds his way back inbounds and makes the rebound, but San Antonio unable to convert on its next possession. So now you've got 15 seconds left. If you're Dallas, you have to go to Nowitzki. You think possibly with that ISO at the top. And San Antonio, if you bring the double, you want to make Devin Harris make the shot. Don't rotate off of Jason Terry, because Terry is the guy who you know can kill you from long range.
Eric Dampier checks back in for Sagana Diop. Right here, the season is on the line for the Spurs. 15.4 remaining. Down to 10 on the shot clock as Harris handles. Nowitzki with the fake on Bowen. Bowen with the block and the tie-up. What a play by one of the premier defensive players in the NBA. And you can see Bowen telling Duncan, let's not celebrate.
Well, 5 seconds on the shot clock now. And remember, this was a foul in games 3 and 4, but Bowen gets the call to go his way now. Dallas with a 22nd timeout remaining. The Spurs with a couple timeouts left, but neither coach going to call anything. Dallas with the advantage with the height.
What a play by the 6'7" Bowen on the 7-footer Nowitzki. Here's the tip. A loose ball. This will be a tie-up with 3 4/10 seconds remaining.
Ginobili, Marv, taking control of this game with his energy in the final minute. The steals, the loose balls, the activity. Incredible effort from Manu Ginobili.
And now the officials trying to sort it out as to who will jump. And Bernie Fryer walking over to Avery Johnson to discuss that last play. And the question is, who will go on this jump ball? 3.4 remaining. It'll be Ginobili, and look out, Nowitzki and Bowen battling for position, and they're being warned by the officials, Joe Forte and Bernie Fryer. It'll be Ginobili and Terry on that tie-up.
And if Dallas controls the tap, Avery Johnson just told Devin Harris, call a timeout so we can set something up. Josh Howard will enter the game because of his length and quickness. But for San Antonio, you have the advantage here with Ginobili. And they've got a lane to the left with Bruce Bowen and Tony Parker. That's the angle that Ginobili will try. And look at Ginobili with the hustle, getting his hand on the ball, forcing another jump ball, and the officials trying to sort everything out here. Another dramatic close to this game.
San Antonio up by 1, 98-97. Hoping to take this series back to Dallas for a game 6 on Friday night. Ginobili and Terry on the jump. And Bernie Fryer does not like the lineup. Players hedging, cheating, try to get the step. Now Nowitzki goes to the other side.
It's like a scrum in a rugby match.
What is going on here? All right, now here's the toss, controlled by Howard, and they take a timeout. Seconds remaining, 1 point. San Antonio lead. Daniels gets it in. Here's Terry firing, and that'll do it. Nowitzki had an opportunity. This series extends to a game 6 as the Spurs hold on for a 98-97 win. And the Mavericks had a chance to win it in the final seconds.
They had their chance. Marv, David Robinson loves it. And finally for San Antonio, the breaks go their way. You see the inbounds to Terry. Gets a good look with Ginobili in his face. Nowitzki wanted a foul there. And for the first time in the last 3 games, he doesn't get the call. And as a result, the break goes the Spurs' way. They come up with a victory. They live to fight another day. The world champs do not go quietly.
And it's never easy to close out a team, especially the defending champs. You had an extreme effort tonight. Just talk about this win.
Great win for us. Of course, it's do or die right now. We're on our home court. We did our job here. We want to go back to Dallas. We've had 2 really tough losses there. We're really confident going into their building and try to get another one.
You know, down the stretch, just describe the defensive efforts by Bowen and Ginobili.
They were great. Gino was all over the place, knocking the ball away, getting on the floor. That's the kind of effort we're going to need here going into Dallas. And Bruce was great. He just stayed on him, stayed away from the fouls on Dirk, and just did a great job contesting his shots.
Tony Parker from day 1 in this series says that you've been unstoppable. You were hot from the very beginning and very aggressive from the start.
Yeah, I backed off a little bit towards the end there. I probably should have taken that last shot there instead of passing it down low to Tony, but I feel great. I'm going to continue to attack, and hopefully the ball keeps going down.
Congratulations. I'll see you in Dallas.